In the expanse of a galaxy spiraling millions of light-years away, a planet named Thylaxis thrived under the rule of an alien king named Xytheron. Known for his towering figure, crystalline horns, and emerald eyes that seemed to pierce through the souls of his subjects, Xytheron was both revered and feared. Beside him once stood his queen, Lorynthra, a luminous being of grace and wisdom, her presence often likened to the gentle glow of distant stars. Together, they had been an inseparable force, rulers whose union had been considered sacred. But time and power, as they often do, had worn away at the fabric of their bond. Thylaxis was a planet of extremes, a core bursting with lush bioluminescent forests and a perimeter of dry, desolate lands that stretched into endless crimson horizons. These outer lands, known as the Cradle of Desolation, were a place of exile, punishment, and despair. It was here, amidst the scorching winds and parched sands, that Lorynthra found herself abandoned. Xytheron's thirst for conquest had grown insatiable. Over time, he began to view Lorynthra not as his equal but as an obstacle. Her pleas for compassion and restraint in his wars irritated him. In his mind, she was no longer a queen but a relic of a past he wished to discard. One fateful evening, under the guise of a council meeting, Xytheron ordered her banishment. Stripped of her royal regalia, she was cast into the Cradle of Desolation, left to fend for herself in a land where survival was a cruel gamble. For weeks, Lorynthra wandered the barren expanse. Her luminous skin, once a symbol of royalty, now dulled under layers of grit and sand. The endless sunrises and sunsets blurred together in a haze of suffering. But despite her weakened state, her spirit remained unbroken. Each step she took was a defiance, a testament to her will to live. On the other side of the stars, Earth was grappling with its own challenges. Amidst the political turmoil and interstellar ambitions of humanity, a small contingent of soldiers had been dispatched on a reconnaissance mission to explore unknown reaches of space. Among them was Captain Ethan Reeve, a man hardened by battle but softened by an unyielding sense of justice. Ethan had joined the mission seeking redemption after years of war had left him disillusioned and scarred. The human vessel, Horizon's Edge, was en route to chart the Thylaxis system when a distress beacon of alien origin drew their attention. Despite protests from his crew about the potential dangers, Ethan insisted they investigate. The beacon led them to the edge of the Cradle of Desolation, where the ship landed amidst a storm of crimson dust. Stepping onto the alien soil, Ethan's team combed the area until they found her. She was collapsed near the remains of a dry, withered tree, her once regal form now a shadow of itself. Ethan approached cautiously, his weapon at the ready, but the sight of her vulnerability disarmed him. Her luminous eyes, though dim, met his with a mixture of caution and hope. "Help me," she whispered in a language that resonated in his mind rather than his ears, the alien syllables translating effortlessly through the neural translator embedded in his suit. Without hesitation, Ethan carried her aboard the ship. The crew was apprehensive, but Ethan's commanding presence silenced their doubts. In the medical bay, Lorynthra was stabilized, though it became clear she was no ordinary being. Her regenerative abilities, though diminished, were remarkable, and her intellect quickly surpassed even the crew's advanced technology. Over time, Lorynthra recounted her story to Ethan. She spoke of Xytheron's betrayal, the pain of exile, and the atrocities committed under his rule. Ethan listened intently, his own sense of justice ignited by her plight. What struck him most was her resilience. Despite everything, she bore no hatred, only a profound sadness for the kingdom she had lost. As the days turned to weeks, a bond formed between them. Ethan, who had once believed himself incapable of connection after years of war, found solace in Lorynthra's presence. She, in turn, was drawn to his unwavering kindness and strength. Their relationship blossomed, transcending the boundaries of species and circumstance. But the galaxy was not without its dangers. News of the human ship's presence on Thylaxis reached Xytheron. Enraged at the possibility of outsiders meddling in his affairs, he dispatched a fleet to intercept them. The skies above the Cradle of Desolation erupted into chaos as Xytheron's forces clashed with the Horizon's Edge. Amidst the battle, Lorynthra revealed her hidden strength. Drawing upon reserves of energy she had long suppressed, she unleashed a brilliant wave of light that disoriented Xytheron's fleet, giving the humans a chance to retaliate. Her actions turned the tide of the battle, but they came at a cost. The exertion left her weakened, her luminous glow fading further. Ethan refused to leave her side, even as the ship prepared for an emergency escape. "We're not abandoning her," he declared to his crew, his voice resolute. Together, they devised a plan to flee the planet and bring Lorynthra to Earth, where she could recover in safety. Their journey back to Earth was fraught with challenges. Pursued by Xytheron's forces, the Horizon's Edge narrowly escaped capture multiple times. Through it all, Ethan and Lorynthra's bond deepened. They spoke of their pasts, their hopes, and their dreams for a future free from tyranny. Upon reaching Earth, Lorynthra was awed by its beauty. Though primitive compared to Thylaxis, the planet's lush landscapes and vibrant cultures reminded her of the peace she had longed for. Ethan introduced her to his world, and in time, they were married in a quiet ceremony under the stars. Their union was met with both wonder and skepticism by humanity, but Ethan and Lorynthra's love became a symbol of unity between their species. Together, they worked to expose Xytheron's tyranny, rallying support from other alien civilizations who had suffered under his rule. Though their journey was far from over, Ethan and Lorynthra found strength in each other. Their love, forged in the harshest of circumstances, became a beacon of hope in a galaxy yearning for change. As the years passed, Ethan and Lorynthra's influence grew. Their story became a legend not just on Earth but across many star systems. The union of a human soldier and an alien queen served as a rallying cry for those oppressed under Xytheron's rule. It was proof that unity and love could transcend borders and species, igniting a growing resistance movement against the tyrant king. Lorynthra's strength returned slowly but surely. On Earth, surrounded by nature and nurtured by Ethan's unwavering care, her luminous glow began to shine again. She adapted to her new life, learning Earth's languages, customs, and values. While she marveled at the creativity and resilience of humanity, she also recognized their capacity for destruction and division. With Ethan's guidance, she sought to unite Earth's nations into a single force capable of standing against Xytheron. Ethan, on the other hand, found himself transformed by Lorynthra's wisdom. Her perspective, shaped by centuries of rule and suffering, gave him a new purpose. Where once he had been a soldier focused solely on survival, he now became a leader, advocating for peace and justice. Together, they founded the Galactic Accord Initiative, a coalition of planets united in their quest to dethrone Xytheron and establish a new era of harmony. But the path ahead was fraught with peril. Xytheron's spies infiltrated the coalition, spreading fear and doubt. Sabotage became a constant threat, and the looming shadow of war grew darker. Despite the odds, Ethan and Lorynthra pressed forward, knowing that the alternative, a galaxy under Xytheron's iron fist, was unacceptable. One fateful day, a message arrived from Thylaxis. It was a plea from a faction within Xytheron's court, disillusioned by his reign of terror. They offered critical information about his weaknesses, but there was a price. Lorynthra had to return to her homeworld to lead the rebellion personally. The thought of setting foot on the planet that had nearly killed her filled Lorynthra with dread, but she knew it was the only way. Ethan, as always, stood by her side. "We do this together," he said firmly, his hand clasping hers. Their journey back to Thylaxis was swift but tense. The coalition's fleet, bolstered by allies from countless worlds, moved in stealth, their mission clear, to liberate the planet and dethrone Xytheron. When they arrived, the sight of Thylaxis from orbit struck Lorynthra with a wave of emotions. The bioluminescent forests glowed faintly, a shadow of their former brilliance, while the cradle of desolation seemed to stretch endlessly, a grim reminder of her past. But she did not waver. The rebellion began with precision strikes against Xytheron's strongholds. Lorynthra, accompanied by Ethan and a contingent of loyal fighters, infiltrated the royal palace. The halls, once familiar and vibrant, now felt cold and oppressive. As they advanced, memories of her time as queen surged within her, mingling with the reality of her mission. At the throne room's entrance, they were met by Xytheron himself. His crystalline horns gleamed menacingly, and his emerald eyes burned with fury. "You dare return," he snarled, his voice echoing like thunder. "You, who were too weak to stand by my side?" Lorynthra stepped forward, her glowing form radiating defiance. "I was never weak," she replied. "I was strong enough to walk away from your darkness. And now, I am strong enough to end it." The battle that followed was nothing short of epic. Xytheron's raw power was formidable, but Lorynthra's light, amplified by the strength she had regained on Earth, matched him blow for blow. Ethan, armed with Earth's advanced technology, fought alongside her, his precision and determination a stark contrast to Xytheron's brutal force. As the fight raged, the Coalition's fleet engaged Xytheron's forces in the skies above, their combined might overwhelming the tyrant's defenses. One by one, his generals fell, and the people of Thyrallaxis began to rise, inspired by Lorynthra's courage. In the throne room, the final confrontation came to a head. Lorynthra, her glow now blinding, unleashed a wave of energy that shattered Xytheron's crystalline horns and brought him to his knees. Ethan stood beside her, his weapon trained on the fallen king. "It's over," Lorynthra said, her voice steady but filled with sorrow. "Your reign ends here." Xytheron, his arrogance broken, looked up at her with a mixture of hatred and despair. "You think they'll follow you," he spat. "You're nothing without me." "I don't need them to follow me," she replied. "I need them to be free." With that, Lorynthra turned away, leaving Xytheron to face the judgment of his people. The rebellion was victorious, and the galaxy rejoiced at the news of the tyrant's fall. Thyrallaxis, under Lorynthra's guidance, began the long process of healing. Ethan and Lorynthra returned to Earth as heroes, their bond stronger than ever. Together, they continued their work with the Galactic Accord Initiative, ensuring that no ruler would ever again wield unchecked power. Their love, born in the harshest of circumstances, became a testament to the resilience of the heart and the enduring power of hope. And as they stood beneath the stars, hand in hand, they knew their journey was far from over. But for the first time in a long time, the future felt bright. The years that followed saw a galaxy transformed by the ripples of Ethan and Lorynthra's actions. The fall of Xytheron became a rallying point for countless oppressed worlds, sparking uprisings and rebellions that dismantled oppressive regimes. Thyrallaxis itself became a symbol of rebirth, its bioluminescent forests slowly recovering as Lorynthra worked with its people to rebuild what had been lost. On Earth, Lorynthra was no longer just a queen from a distant world but a beloved figure of unity. Humanity had once been fractured by distrust and division, but her wisdom and example inspired nations to come together like never before. She became a bridge between worlds, her luminous presence captivating leaders and civilians alike. Meanwhile, Ethan rose to prominence as a leader in the Galactic Accord Initiative. Together, they guided the coalition toward a future built on mutual respect and shared prosperity. But even amidst the progress, new challenges arose. The power vacuum left by Xytheron's fall brought chaos to parts of the galaxy. Old rivalries between alien factions flared up, and opportunistic warlords sought to carve out their own empires. While many celebrated the newfound freedom, others saw it as a chance to seize power for themselves. Ethan and Lorynthra found themselves at the center of this delicate balancing act. They traveled tirelessly between planets, mediating disputes, rallying support for peace, and putting out the fires of conflict before they could spread. It was exhausting work, but their shared purpose and unwavering love for each other kept them going. One of their most significant challenges came when a splinter faction of Xytheron's former military rose to power in a distant system. Led by a cunning and ruthless commander named Vykin, the faction sought to restore Xytheron's empire under a new banner. Vykin was a master manipulator, spreading propaganda that painted Xytheron as a misunderstood hero and Lorynthra as a traitor who had betrayed her people. The Galactic Accord Initiative recognized the threat but faced difficulty mobilizing support. Many worlds were hesitant to commit resources to another war so soon after Xytheron's fall. Lorynthra, deeply affected by the resurgence of her former oppressor's ideology, decided to confront the problem directly. "This isn't just about power," she told Ethan during one of their strategy meetings. "It's about hope. Vykin preys on those who feel abandoned, who believe they have no future without the old regime. We need to show them another way." Ethan agreed. "Then we don't just fight him, we fight for the people he's trying to control." Their plan was twofold. While the coalition prepared a defensive fleet to counter Vykin's military advances, Ethan and Lorynthra embarked on a mission to win the hearts and minds of the people in Vykin's territory. They traveled to oppressed worlds, meeting with local leaders and citizens, sharing their story, and rallying them to the cause of freedom. On one particularly dangerous mission, they infiltrated a heavily guarded outpost to deliver a message to Vykin's forces. Lorynthra's radiant light, once a beacon of royalty, now symbolized the hope of a united galaxy. Her words carried the weight of her experiences, and her plea for peace resonated deeply with many. Ethan's bravery and authenticity only strengthened their cause, as he stood as living proof of the possibility of unity between different species. Their efforts paid off. Slowly, Vykin's support began to erode. Soldiers defected, and worlds under his control started to rise against him. The coalition fleet, bolstered by these defections, gained the upper hand in the conflict. In a climactic battle near the edge of a collapsing star system, Vykin's forces were finally defeated. The victory was hard-won, but it cemented the Galactic Accord Initiative as a force for good in the galaxy. With Vykin defeated, Ethan and Lorynthra turned their focus to building a lasting peace. They proposed the creation of a Galactic Senate, a governing body where representatives from all member worlds could come together to resolve disputes and make decisions collectively. It was an ambitious idea, and it faced resistance at first, but their vision and determination eventually won over even the most skeptical factions. As the Galactic Senate took shape, Ethan and Lorynthra began to step back from the spotlight. They had given so much of themselves to the galaxy, and now it was time to focus on their own lives. They returned to Earth, where they built a home in a quiet, forested valley that reminded Lorynthra of Thylaxis before its fall. Their days were filled with peace and simplicity. Lorynthra tended to a garden of alien and earth plants, their bioluminescent glow casting soft light over their home at night. Ethan took up woodworking, crafting furniture and art that blended human and alien styles. They spent their evenings stargazing, sharing stories of their travels and dreaming of the future. But even in retirement, their influence remained. Visitors from across the galaxy came to their home, seeking advice, wisdom, or simply the chance to meet the couple whose love had changed the course of history. Ethan and Lorynthra welcomed them all, sharing their experiences and reminding them of the power of unity and compassion. As the years turned to decades, their legacy endured. The Galactic Senate grew into a thriving institution, and the worlds of the coalition continued to flourish. Thylaxis, under the leadership of a new generation inspired by Lorynthra, became a beacon of culture and innovation. Earth, too, embraced its role as a key player in the galaxy, its people forever changed by their connection to the stars. In their twilight years, Ethan and Lorynthra remained as devoted to each other as ever. Their love, forged in the fires of adversity, had weathered every storm and stood the test of time. And when the end finally came, they left the world as they had lived in it, together, hand in hand, beneath a sky full of stars. Their story became a legend, passed down through generations as a reminder of what was possible when hearts and minds came together. And though they were gone, their light continued to shine, guiding the galaxy toward a future of peace and unity. As the twilight of their lives approached, Ethan and Lorynthra found themselves surrounded by a galaxy forever transformed by their efforts. They had not only left behind a legacy of peace and unity but also inspired millions across countless worlds to believe in the possibility of a better future. And yet, their days were filled not with grand speeches or galactic councils but with the quiet joy of living in harmony. Their home on Earth had become a sanctuary of unparalleled beauty. Nestled in the valley, their garden flourished into an otherworldly paradise, a testament to the blending of two lives and two worlds. Flowers from Earth and Thylaxis bloomed side by side, their colors and lights merging into a breathtaking tapestry. Children from nearby towns often visited, enchanted by the glowing plants and the gentle, otherworldly aura of Lorynthra, who greeted them with stories of distant stars. Ethan, now silver-haired but as steadfast as ever, continued his woodworking, crafting intricate sculptures that captured moments of their journey. Thylaxis's bioluminescent forests, the horizon's edge soaring through the void, and even the first time they had gazed at the stars together. These pieces became cherished artifacts, gifted to friends and allies who visited from across the galaxy. One day, as the sun set behind the rolling hills, painting the sky in hues of gold and violet, Ethan and Lorynthra sat on their porch, watching the world drift into a serene twilight. They held hands, the soft hum of the garden surrounding them, and reflected on their journey. "Do you ever wonder," Ethan began, his voice warm with affection, "what would have happened if I hadn't found you in that desert?" Lorynthra smiled, her luminous eyes shining like twin moons. "Perhaps the universe would have found another way to bring us together. Some bonds are too strong to be undone by circumstance." He chuckled, squeezing her hand. "I like to think so. But I'm glad it was me who found you." She leaned her head against his shoulder, her voice a soft whisper. And I am glad it was you who gave me a reason to believe again." Their peace was interrupted only by the arrival of a familiar hum in the air, a small spacecraft descending into the meadow nearby. The doors opened, and out stepped a delegation from the Galactic Senate. Among them were old friends, allies who had fought by their side, and young representatives who had grown up hearing tales of their heroism. "We couldn't let this day go unnoticed," said Zara, a former captain in the Coalition fleet and a close friend. "It's been 50 years since the fall of Xytheron. A milestone like that deserves to be celebrated with the ones who made it possible." Ethan and Lorynthra were ushered into the spacecraft, which whisked them away to a celebration unlike any other. Held on a massive space station orbiting a vibrant nebula, the event brought together beings from every corner of the galaxy. As they entered the grand hall, a hush fell over the crowd. Every eye turned toward them, and for a moment, the weight of their legacy was palpable. The silence was broken by applause, cheers, and songs from dozens of cultures. Tributes were given, and stories were shared of how Ethan and Lorynthra's actions had inspired countless lives. Representatives from Thyrallaxis presented them with a sculpture of a phoenix rising from the ashes, symbolizing the planet's rebirth. Leaders from Earth spoke of the unity they had fostered among humanity. Even the youngest attendees, born into a galaxy shaped by their sacrifices, expressed their gratitude. Through it all, Ethan and Lorynthra remained humble. When asked to speak, Lorynthra stepped forward, her luminous presence commanding attention. "We stand here today not because of what we did," she said, her voice resonating through the hall, "but because of what we all believed was possible. Ethan and I were but two souls in a vast universe, but together, with all of you, we proved that love, compassion, and unity can transcend even the darkest of times. This celebration is not ours alone. It belongs to everyone who dared to hope, to fight, and to dream." The crowd erupted into cheers, and Ethan joined her at the podium, placing a hand on her shoulder. "She's always been better at speeches than I have," he joked, eliciting laughter. "But I'll just add this. No matter where you're from, no matter how different you may seem, there's always more that unites us than divides us. And when we remember that, there's nothing we can't accomplish together." The celebration continued long into the night, the nebula casting its brilliant colors across the station's windows. Ethan and Lorynthra danced under the starlight, surrounded by friends, allies, and the unshakable sense of a galaxy at peace. As they returned home the next day, their hearts were full. Life settled back into its quiet rhythm, but the echoes of that night lingered. Ethan and Lorynthra spent their remaining years in the valley, content in the knowledge that they had left the universe a better place. When the time came for their final journey, it was peaceful. Together, they passed into the unknown, their hands clasped and their love eternal. Their story became a legend, etched into the annals of galactic history and whispered among the stars. And somewhere, amidst the vast expanse of the cosmos, their spirits remained, a guiding light for those who sought hope, unity, and the courage to build a brighter future.